In 2026, what am I supposed to care about as a young man? Especially as a young man who is almost in his 30s, has no friends, no girlfriend, no family. All I really have is a job and a cat, which, hey, pretty good if you ask me, but it isn't enough. But at the same time, what really is supposed to be enough? What is supposed to be successful? Because there's so many different levels, and as a man, there's so much pressure to be the best man that you can be. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I totally agree with that. And that's what I've been, at least what I think I've been doing, by trying to work harder at work, try to save my money, try to invest, try to be as healthy as I can. And well, all this is fine and well. Why? Why? Why should I try to be the best man that I'm supposed to be? Why should I, be a good person? Like, why do really anything? What is the goal? What do I win? What is my cash and prize? And nobody has told me. Nobody has told me, because the whole idea of getting a wife and a family and all of that stuff it basically just feels fake now. Like, that's totally barely possible. And if you do, there's no guarantee that it's gonna stay. Here you are in divorce court, custody court, alimony court, child support court. That's what I've to look forward to as a man. And they tell you, well, that's just some of the people. You got to take the risk, because if you never try, then how would you know? But it's like, anybody who gambles knows 50-50 odds are awful. Like, I got to build myself up, make all this money, invest, have all this stuff to share it with some woman who just shows up in my life, didn't have to do anything to get better as a person, and then gets bored of me a few years down the road and just decides, I'm done, and then takes everything I work for. That's supposed to be the purpose as a young man, and we're supposed to just accept that it could happen, but maybe it won't. That's insane. So, outside of starting a family and getting married and all that, what am I supposed to care about? What am I supposed to see as my purpose? I hear and have been told, hey, start a business. You need to take every second of your day that you aren't working to research and start a business. Like, why are you taking any second of your day to not be researching and trying to figure out how to, make $1 million and start a giant business and move out of the state from where you live and, get all this stuff? Why do you sleep? As a man, like, why are you sleeping? You shouldn't sleep. Every second of the day that you're home, you should be trying to build a business. Well, when you live in a state, for one, that is totally hostile towards small business, all right? When you have no friends, like I said, no family, and ultimately, yeah, you have all this extra time when you're at home from work, but you know what? I want to do nothing when I'm not working. I want to relax, because I'm thinking about the next day of bullshit that I got to deal with at work. And, society would tell me, well, I'm a terrible man because of that. I'm lazy. I'm worthless. I don't work hard enough. I'm a piece of crap because I'd rather just like relax than come home from work and then do another job. Like the culture now is if you aren't working 3 jobs, you're not a man. Like if you're not working 3 jobs, you're just not a hard worker. You're not working hard enough. So I'm supposed to work 3 jobs and have time to think about starting a business, being an entrepreneur. That's crazy. Like, it's impossible to be what is deemed as a man or whatever. Like, I would love to have a business, yeah. But when you have nobody to help you, support you, start with you, you know what? I'm going to take out a fucking $10,000 loan and just be like, all right, good luck to me. When I don't even have an idea of a business. So I don't know about all that. How am I supposed to care about starting a business? It's not really something that seems plausible. And then I am super into politics. Obviously I'm right wing. And when I was left wing, I was a part of all kinds of organizations. They wanted to use me left and right. Go speak at this event, go speak on TV, go do this luncheon, go perform a song, go work for the organization where you're going out and giving speeches at schools and to educators and social workers and, telling your life story and how better you are as a person compared to the lifestyle that you came from and all this crap that I was doing in left-wing fields, a decade ago. And that was great. Until I became right wing and all those bridges just collapsed. Gone. Like I'm the scourge of the earth. And I was in my mid-20s. I was acting a fool about it. I burned the bridges in the worst possible way that I could. So I'm not blameless. Trust and believe that. But also, you can't be right wing and left wing spaces. So whether I destroyed it in this big way like I did, or I just casually was like, hey, I'm on the right now, I would have been kicked out anyway. And so I've spent so much time trying to find a way to get involved in right-wing groups. And the one that I actually did get involved with and had, honestly, probably the greatest time of my adult life, that ended up not having the greatest reputation in the world, and I eventually had to get out of there because it just wasn't healthy. So I've tried to reach out to different organizations, right-wing organizations, because I care. I live in Washington State. We're so far left, we're going to fall off the cliff. Actually, we are in the free fall as we speak, and I would love to start being bold, and right-wingers actually have some kind of footing here. So I've reached out multiple times to like the Young Republicans. I've reached out to what we have, right-wing organization Let's Go Washington, who does initiatives and petitions and stuff like that. I've emailed different politicians, Republican politicians in my state, to try to talk to them and find a way to get involved. And I am constantly just ignored. My talent just goes to total waste. I'm a great speaker. I'm a great writer. I'm a performer. I love public speaking. I'm charismatic. Like, I have all these things, and the right wing, just crickets. Crickets. Again, multiple times I've reached out to all these different groups and people on the right here. Want nothing to do with me. And it's like, no wonder why the right is completely losing in Washington State. No wonder why the Republicans are totally pussified here. Because they don't want the new cream of the crop. They're totally fine with these milquetoast establishment Republicans that are so used to losing, they would rather just lose. Instead of having somebody who is passionate like me, who knows how to speak, who reaches out, who wants to be a part of something greater than myself and try to make things better. Nah. Nah. Even trying to do what I think is the right thing, and instead of just sitting here and complaining and whining and being like, oh, nothing ever happens, I actually do the work. I put myself out there. But I'm just invisible. So what am I supposed to care about? I'm passionate about this stuff. So that's essentially why I just do this. I just make these YouTube videos here and there. I was active on Instagram. I've gotten off Instagram and been off for like the past 3 months, and getting off of social media has been so good for my mind and my soul. And I used to create a lot of content on there. That's kind of the double-edged sword, is like, I don't want to be on social media like that no more. But that's where I would create, and actually had quite a bit of attention over there on Instagram compared to YouTube. But it was just not good for me. And so here I am, because it's hard to even find people intelligent enough, or even with the intellect enough, to have these conversations in person in real life. Like, I'm not like the greatest, smartest, most intelligent person in the world, but goddamn, like, the people that I'm around all the time make me feel like freaking Einstein. It's frustrating. It's like, I want to have a normal, deep-ish kind of conversation about something real, and it yeah, right. It's about the depth of these people is their favorite TV shows and their favorite football teams. So, I don't know. Like I said in my last video, I'm just content now with chilling in my apartment, playing my game, and hopefully dying just sooner than later. I'm really grateful that I have both of my parents. I love them to death. And so basically what I'm doing is trying to spend as much time with them and talk and interact with them as much as I can until they're gone. And if I'm really not in a place where I feel like I want to be or need to be when that happens, well, I'm just going to take care of myself, and remove myself from this entire equation. I'm not even saying that as like a depressing, sad thing. It's just kind of like, I'm not contributing that much, but I'm just going to, again, sit here alone in my apartment and just die. And nobody is even going to really notice. Work will replace me in a couple weeks after. So, yeah, like, what am I supposed to care about? I don't really know. And quite honestly, I don't have the energy anymore to really try to figure it out. So, I mean, maybe something will pop up. Maybe I'll get lucky and something will just appear. But until then, I guess there is nothing to care about as a young man in 2026. Other than yourself. But even then, should I care about myself? I don't know. Thanks for watching.